Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Great to be here with you. September. Can't believe it. September 2nd already. So great to see everybody today. And I really appreciate it because as some of you know, today's a rescheduled day because we had a little technical difficulties last week. Spectrum outage on Wednesday, exactly at 9 o'clock. So thanks for being here this morning. We're going to have a great time today. I'm super excited. It was hard for me to postpone this for a whole week because these are two people that I've really looked forward to talking to. So we are talking today to the amazingly talented Chef Dan Jacobs from DanDan in Milwaukee. So we're going to talk to him in just a second, and make sure to stay tuned because I have a new obsession, which is Live a Little Ice Cream. And we're going to be talking to the creator of Live a Little Ice Cream, Liv, in just a little bit. So super cool. And at the very end, I'm going to give a recap because some of you might have seen last night the We Make Events Milwaukee event that was happening downtown and throughout our surrounding areas to draw attention to the Restart Act. So at the end of today's broadcast, I just want to show you some cool highlights from last night from really across the country, but some really impressive lighting displays downtown. So I am super excited to start our conversation this morning. I'm going to bring Dan into stream, Chef Dan Jacobs. He is coming to us live from DanDan in the historic 3rd Ward. Hey, good morning, Dan.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm great. It's it's sunny outside. It's beautiful. Can't ask for better weather than what we have right now. So feeling pretty good.
It is. It's so cool. It's so cool. So you are in the restaurant, right? Kind of prepping for your day.
Yep. So we start pretty early. We start about 10 a.m. So this isn't really that much earlier than we normally start. And then we, start service at 4 o'clock on the patio, and things have been going pretty well and pretty smooth, and we're just excited to still be cooking food for people, I think.
Oh my gosh, and we're so happy that you guys are. The cool thing, I want to make sure that people are aware of where DanDan is, because you opened in 2016. It's an American Chinese restaurant, and here's a picture of the location in historic 3rd Ward. How did you and your business partner, come up with this concept, and what brought DanDan to Milwaukee?
I think more than anything else, me and Dan were both kind of at a point in our careers where we were both, a little bit older. I think Dan's a couple years older than I am. So he was right around 40. I was 38. And we were, I think we both needed to do something on our own. Like, we were kind of just tired of working for other people, and realizing that, we should do something on our own. And it came up casually in conversation, and then, it started to snowball from there. And then it was, what do we want to do? Chinese food has always had a real special spot in my heart. It always kind of reminds me of childhood, and usually it reminds me of happy memories of childhood. When I'm sick or not feeling well, or, I'm down, and I think everybody does this. You go to what comforts you, and great way to make you feel better. And so I would always gravitate towards Chinese food. And, that's because we spent, graduations and birthdays at local Chinese restaurants where I grew up in Chicago. And it just seemed like the right thing. If this makes me happy, in theory, this will make other people happy. And I think for Dan, it was about learning about something that he had no idea, he didn't know anything about. And so I think we both kind of came to it with that really inquisitive, curious mind, and wanted to give something different, something special, and something that really meant something to me, I think, to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's so great. And it's just such a cool environment too. Not only is, the food absolutely delicious and artful, I must say. I think that's really cool too. I love the different, even the plates, some of the things that you present on is just super cool and unique. The details.
That's my wife, Kate Riley. Kate Riley actually makes all of our plates at DanDan, Plate Collective, .net. There's a little plug.
Oh, absolutely. We want people to know about that. It's so beautiful. You mentioned too, and this is just such a cool spot downtown, but the patio. And I'm so excited to hear this. Before our live, you were just telling us a little tidbit that this past Saturday actually was your busiest Saturday on the patio, but it's such a cool spot. You're doing counter service, right now?
We actually went back to doing regular service.
Okay.
And that, I think, and part of that comes from me having gone out. Me and Kate went out to dinner a couple times to a couple restaurants, Colacenzo and then the former Augie's that didn't last very long at the Metro Hotel. But during those meals, I think, during those meals, in certain parts of it, we had moments where it reminded me of what it was like to just be, what life was like. And I think that kind of, really made us rethink how we were doing things at DanDan and reprioritize what our job is. And I think, we really wanted to give that to other people and give that moments of just normal. And so we went back to doing regular service. We, doing servers. It's a lot of extra work. But at the same time, I think what it has done is kind of, just reinvigorate the staff. It definitely did that for me. I think I was feeling, like I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why we're doing this. And I think, moving to that sort of, moving to this format or back to our original format really kind of repurposed us and gave us, real good momentum to kind of move forward with.
Yeah, and I think that people really miss that spirit of hospitality from at least a guest perspective, especially, during these times. And one of the things that's always so cool coming to your restaurant is that the staff always does such a good job of walking you through the menu and talking through, different cool either specials or ingredient items. So I think it's super helpful, especially in a restaurant like yours. So that's cool. That's cool to hang out on the patio and have some great service.
Yeah, our staff is really the best. I can't say enough about our staff. Like our staff from front to back just completely kicks ass all over the place. So
yeah, it's you can tell that you like them and they like you because it shows on the floor, which I love too. So good morning to Karen, Adam, some fun people already watching. Good to see you guys. So here's the big thing, Dan, and this is so awesome. I've wanted to talk to you for a while. And then when Food Network came up and you were on Beat Bobby Flay recently, which was in August, a few weeks ago, August 16th. And I know a lot of people watched, but it's just so awesome to have a local guy represented on the Food Network. And you were awesome and so good. I mean, you're not one of those people that has to be behind the camera. I have to say you did a really cool job. But yeah, it was super cool. So if people didn't watch the August 16th episode, I encourage you to. Before we get into it, I want to talk about a couple of things because we have some cool photos and video of the episode, and we're excited to get your insight into the experience. I want to, because this relates to the restaurant too, your history, your story. But one of the things that you mentioned on the episode, and I think this is really special for people to hear and learn a little bit more about. And I think it's called Kennedy's disease. Is that right? But you mentioned it on the episode, and I was intrigued by it because it's something I didn't know about you personally, but I think it's part of your story that's so important for people to hear about. Tell us a little bit about how that is in your daily life.
So, I mean, Kennedy's disease is a rare neurological disease. And, it's with all rare diseases, it's really, there's not a lot of research. There's not a lot of great information out there. There's a lot of, is it good to exercise? Is it not good to exercise? There's a lot of misinformation. So, I got diagnosed in 2016, right before we opened up the restaurant. And it was, it's challenging. So it's very similar to ALS. So it's a muscle degenerative disease. It's not as fast moving as ALS, but it's progressive. So, it starts out simple and then kind of keeps going, and it's day to day. Certain days are better than others. Certain days I'm just really tired, and you can tell because I start dragging my feet. And if I start dragging my feet, it's dangerous because I trip and I fall, a lot. but it's also funny because having skateboarded and rode bikes as kids, I feel like I've learned to fall very well, so I can kind of deal with the punches a little bit. But you know, it's that's where like the danger lies. That's where people end up, you know, in wheelchairs. People end up, you know. I do have a cane. I do use it every once in a while. I don't like to use it because I feel like it draws attention, man, in a way that like I know that people, you know, care, but at the same time, it's difficult. It's hard for me to. I mean, I've had to learn to ask for help, and asking for help has always been really hard, and it's tough. But I have, again, you know, and this goes back to, you know, our great staff. Like when, you know, I told the staff about it. I think nobody knew about it for the first like 6 or 8 months. And when I started to realize that this was something that I'm going to deal with my entire life, and will have, you know, impact on my entire life and my wife's life and my family and everybody around me, I realized that I had to kind of, you know, what made it less scary was talking about it more and being more vocal about it. And so I really kind of got out in the open and started talking to people about, you know, what it was like, how to deal with it. You know, one of the things that really came out of it was our Dim Sum Give Some events, which we've donated over $75,000 in the last 3 years. It really sucks that we, you know, this year's event, like, did not happen for obvious reasons. It's kind of hard to get 300 people in a room together right now.
I hear you.
But, you know, we were on tap to donate another $35,000 or $40,000, but we've donated over $75,000 to Kennedy's disease research in the last 3-4 years. And that always feels really, really good. I'm a little bit more active on the Kennedy's Disease Association board this year, because it does mean something to me. And you know, me and my brother both have it. It is something that's hereditary. You know, it's hereditary. It was passed down from my mom, and he unfortunately passed it down to his daughter, who's 8 years old, and she may or may not have any effects of it. Like it doesn't really show until like you're in your late 20s or 30s.
Right.
But it really, you know, I'd love to someday for them to find something so it just, you know, so she doesn't ever have to worry about it.
Right.
That's something that kind of always meant, like, that's our main reason for why, you know, we raise money. But again, my staff has always been here to help me out, pick me up when I'm down, and, you know, do things I can't do. It's mostly little stuff. It's really frustrating. It's like things you do with your hands. Yeah,
you were saying that, like the chopping and the different, I mean, for you, I'm sure that's frustrating.
It is, and that's these you know, these tasks that seem, you know, really like basic, like peeling potatoes or, you know, cleaning lobster or chopping something. These repetitive things is where, you know, we as chefs come up with ideas. At least that's how my brain works. While I'm doing some sort of task like peeling a potato, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with that potato, and that's where ideas come from. And then you take away that act. I can't do that anymore. You have to manufacture different ways of you know, kind of tapping into your creative side. Which is a little bit more difficult, but it's, you know, I think, again, you know, we're a team over here, so it really kind of helps that we have, you know, such a, you know, a great support and people around us really kind of help out. Whether it's the sous chefs, chef de cuisines, line cooks, front of the house staff, everybody kind of helps out. So it's good.
Yeah. I appreciate you talking about it because I agree with you that the conversation around these types of things and sharing your personal story, even though sometimes it might be difficult, just really brings the awareness. And the other thing I think about this is it also makes more sense why perhaps you are so passionate about your food and your work. Because I'm sure that influences how you execute too. But I appreciate that because and I'm glad that you mentioned it on the episode on such a big platform. And I wish you guys luck in your future fundraising too. We'll be, I'm sure, watching your website and social media for the next party because I'm with you. Bring back the parties.
Sometime soon. It'll happen soon.
Yeah. Okay, so Beat Bobby Flay. This is what's so awesome. Here's what I was wondering. Did you audition? Did someone approach you? What was the first step?
They approached us, you know, and it was, you know, they had a couple different ideas for the show. But I don't know. It's always something. I've never really done a lot of TV, and it's always something that it's something I don't know about. And I think, you know, it's kind of like being a chef. You're curious about all things, and so I really wanted to see how this kind of works. Like, is this real? Is the time limits real? Like, you know, how does this work? And it was super fun. You know, we went through a whole process of interviewing and just some stuff like this, like talking with somebody over a camera and just making that, you know, you're comfortable in front of something. But it was super fun. I had a blast.
That's so cool. So it aired on August 16th, but when was it actually taped?
Well, you could tell by my hair, kind of.
It was much more trim then.
Yeah, so like we taped that in beginning of May of 2019. And then I had to sit on this for like 16 or 17 months, whatever it ended up being.
Wow.
And not really tell anybody about it. And really, like, I kept my secret, which is crazy. Those of you people that know me, like, you should know. I mean, everybody knows that I'm not really good at keeping secrets. And so somehow I was able to keep this one. I think the threat of lawsuit would kind of helped out.
Yeah, that NDA is kind of what got you. Hey, yeah. Andy Glab is watching, saying good morning. So shout out to Andy. Thanks for tuning in.
I don't know if you know Andy. Andy's great.
Yeah. He's so cool. Okay, so, you know, from what we saw, where was it taped? Where was it?
They flew us out to New York. So it, me and Kate went out on a Tuesday, got there early, had a whole New York City day that led into a New York City night, which led into a late night. And then we had to be up the next morning. Our pickup was like 4:45 in the morning, but we went to bed at like 1 or 1:30 in the morning.
Wow, living it up.
It was a real rock star. It was a real rock star. But it obviously worked. Something worked there. So we, you know.
Yeah. Now, compared to what we saw on TV for the length of the episode, was it really like a full day worth of taping? Long time.
It was 12 hours, and the stuff that they cut out. You know, there was a lot of really great stuff between me and Bobby going back and forth that they cut out. There was also like, there's a point where you forget that you can't swear on television. I have that ability. I don't know. I tend to swear a lot, and so Carla Hall asked me what I was doing with the masa, and I just yelled across the studio. I was like, I don't effing know. And she was, you know, and I'm like, and then immediately you're like, oh shit, damn, like
deeper.
I murdered that whole segment. Also, what was weird, and this is something that I thought was very bizarre. Like, I live in Milwaukee. I am 100% all in Milwaukee. Like, we have, you know, between me and my wife and my business partners, we have something like 5 different, you know, businesses in the Milwaukee area. I love it here. we have our house. We own a home here. Like I am 100% all in Milwaukee. Yet they mentioned Chicago like twice. That's where yes, that's where I grew up. But man, like I am all in Milwaukee, and I hate that. It always makes me feel like we're like just like a little suburb. Whereas I think
I know
so much bigger than that.
And that's the frustrating thing about TV. That the more you do, you learn. Is like you can put out there everything you want them to take and hear, but sometimes the things you don't want make it. Now I want to show people because I just love this. We can talk over it, but I'm going to put in stream here the intro. And I was like so excited when I saw this because they're introducing you, and take a look at the like fabulous intro. I just was like, yes. I mean, it's like WrestleMania there.
That was literally what I was trying to channel, was my inner Ric Flair. I have to thank the gentleman at Vanguard Bar and for helping me out with all my wrestling knowledge, because I don't know anything about wrestling without Chris Schulis and Jim Hollywood. Otherwise, I wouldn't know anything. But man, I really channeled my inner Ric Flair, and also like that's as good as I look. I feel like all episode. Other than that, I'm like they had to keep applying foundation because I just kept sweating. It was probably a little bit from the night before, but you know, it was such a good time. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Time is really time there. Like when they give you.
Yeah, that was the question. So is for example, round 1 was 20 minutes. Is it really 20 minutes?
15 minutes. And yes, it's really 15 minutes. Like they give you he busts out your secret ingredient masa, which I don't have. Like as far as like South American, Mexican cooking and cuisine, it's not my strong suit. Like I don't know a lot about it. I've never really worked around it. You know, and so it like having fresh masa, you know, I just kind of like it was immediately like all the blood. Like I think you can look at if you see the clip of it when they show me, it's just my face just goes blank. I'm like, oh.
Oh.
The kid I'm going up against is from Texas, so I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna smoke me right now. I was like, this is how I'm gonna lose.
Yeah. So this was Chef Tony Wynn from Houston, who was your competitor.
Yeah, and so I thought for sure he was gonna beat me. And, you know, you have about 3 minutes while they're resetting cameras and moving people around to figure out what you're gonna do, and the producer's following you around asking you what you're gonna do so they can take notes on it. I had no clue, and I just kept telling them to leave me alone, like get out of here, leave me alone. I just kept walking around, not knowing what I was going to do. So I initially just grabbed a bunch of stuff and started cutting stuff, and then kind of figured out how things were going to work from there. Like because I was like, I'm going to start chopping stuff and then figure it out. Your 15 minutes goes by so fast that you don't like. I didn't look at what Tony was doing. I didn't look at anything like that. You're
like
also
in the zone.
You're also just throwing things on the floor, which is so backwards to everything I've ever learned and been taught. Like everything's so clean at the restaurants. Like you know, I make fun. You know, like we're hard on guys that cut. You cut into a container, or like you always have like something to. You always have side towels and you're cleaning up after yourself.
Right.
And instead, I'm chopping things and just throwing things on the floor.
It's like mayhem. So. Yeah. So your that first dish, you know, it was funny when they said that masa. I thought it was like matzo ball, like Jewish, you know, like. And so I'm looking it up. I'm like, what is masa? Like I didn't even know how to spell it. Anyway, it was kind of funny. But so your first dish was the Southeast Asian taco salad with avocado mash, right?
Yeah.
And
so, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how was it interacting with the judges? It was interesting to see them too as a part of it.
You know, it was really, really fun. So Jet also works with a friend of mine doing food tours in Los Angeles. So there was a little bit of a connection there. I had never met Carla Hall before, and she was incredibly gracious and nice. Really super real. Like what you see on TV is actually what she's really like. We talked for like an hour or so. It just really super cool. I had a really great time, and Bobby Flay comes off. I think everybody wants to think he's just some total dick or something. Immediately me and him got along really well. He just reminded me of like the other line cook I've ever worked with. We were giving each other shit so much, and it's funny how little of that ended up on TV. Like so when you tell him, this is my secret dish, that's his first time he actually knows about it. So he has a group, and they kind of get together and they kind of help him kind of like work through it. And I was giving him shit about that. He had an apron. All I wanted was an apron. I was giving him shit about that. We were really good back and forth, and I think I was also, like I said, I'm an inquisitive person. I think most chefs are. Like we want to learn about something new. That was something with him that I thought was really cool. Like we immediately just started, I would talk with the producers, I would talk with the director, I would ask, why they do this way. And I had a really good time, like on set with everybody. The makeup.
He liked you. You could definitely tell that you guys had a connection. And in a minute, I want to ask you a question about that. But you mentioned Carla, and after that first round, and then we're going to get into round 2 real quick. But after that first round, I was kind of pissed at her because she goes, it kind of makes you feel like you're on a diet. And I was like, this is not going well. And, my MKE boy here has to win. So Carla, chill out. How was that like minute when they were getting through that judging period?
All right. So when I looked over, I know this is going to sound super cocky and kind of shitty, but like when we got done and it was like, all right, hands up, like your hands are up. For the first time I look over and I see what Tony did. And I'm like, oh man, I smoked this kid. Like I totally kicked his ass. Like, there was no way that I'm going to lose this. I mean, it just like, just by looking at what he did, I was like, oh man, I got this. And it really, like, you know, I was in a really good place. I actually had time left at the end. I did something that I was very comfortable with doing, you know, a raw vegetable salad with, you know, some Asian ingredients and something that's really easy. The big thing was getting the masa as soon as I threw it, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I didn't know it was going to puff. And when I threw it in the it just did. And I was like,
yeah, and that was so cool. And then you like nestled it in. So it really is. I mean, the adapting and the quick thinking, it really is how you look. So then we get to Bobby. Okay, so then you make it. We get to the round with Bobby. Here's a question for me, because for other chefs in this, I've thought about it, but then it was you, and I was like, you know, how does this moment feel? You're staring him down. So how did it feel thinking, like, did you at least get in that moment? Were you able to zone in and feel like, okay, I'm standing here. My life has brought me here. I'm staring at Bobby Flay. How did that feel?
I mean, it was funny because it was, you know, he was kind of coaching me through a lot of stuff. He's like, all right, man, he's like, look at my nose or something. He's like, we're gonna start laughing, and we just got to get through this. And that was the big thing, is just like, all right, we just got to get through these shots. And he was very helpful in moments like that. He's just, you know, kind of like trying to help me through some like the you know, some of the like more uncomfortable, weirder, because it is, man, and you're staring at each other for like 2 minutes and they're just circling.
Yeah.
It was, you know, again, it was, and then he was like, he would whisper shit to me, like, he's like, I bet we're doing something Asian, aren't we? He's like, you know, and I would just like, I don't know. He's like, I know it. Like, because he hates doing Asian.
Trying to get a clue.
He's like, to him, doing Asian food is like me doing, you know, any of the, you know, South American or Mexican food that he does. And it's like, I would feel the same way. I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah. So cool. So you ended up choosing and naming one of your signature dishes, the beef chow fun, right?
Yep. This is one of my favorite things at DanDan. Like, this is something that we do incredibly well. It's super good. You know, we've got it down here. It's one of my favorite dishes that we do.
It's so cool. And I love that you did pick a dish, because I saw on your social media, somebody on your team put too, like, you know, come into the restaurant and enjoy what Chef Dan did on Food Network, which was really cool. I liked that. And the big thing that they were on to you about was the homemade noodles, right? The fresh noodles. Do you think that was definitely, I mean, we know you didn't quite make it past this round, but the noodles drew a lot of attention. So did you feel good about that choice?
I do, because you see how I'm pulling the noodles off right there? If they were undercooked, I couldn't do that. So this whole time when they kept saying it was undercooked, I disagreed with them. Also, you know, you're dealing with a kitchen that's not meant for, you know, really wok cooking. Like, these burners aren't strong enough to really kind of get the wok hot. So you're 5 dishes. We had been working, because I mean, again, I practiced. I mean, like anything else, like I think, you know, we would do time trials at DanDan, using the stove and stovetop woks. And when we realized the easiest way of getting 4 or 5 dishes out was to deep fry the noodles and then toss them with stuff to sort of kind of mimic, you know, the wok, because if you put everything in there, it's just all going to like clump together.
Okay.
You know, and I think if I was to say one thing, the one big thing I learned about this is whenever you give them a list of items that you're looking for your pantry, be as specific as possible. It's like down to the type of something, because I would say stuff like fish sauce or sweet soy sauce, and they brought 2 different brands that I'm not as comfortable with using. We use regularly, and that, like, I felt like my dish was salty, but as far as the undercooked noodles, I disagree with that. It was tough though, man. I mean, you're looking at some really, really like knowledgeable judges, and again, it's not called Win Bobby Flay; it's called Beat Bobby Flay. He's not easy to do that to. The guy's been doing this on Food Network for 20 years now, like beating people. He doesn't lose often. I think I gave him I think they had a hard time deciding. You know, I don't think it's easy. I think it was very close. You know, and again, I respect those judges that were up there so much because I follow two of them. One of the women owns a restaurant called King County Imperial, which is in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And I've eaten at King County Imperial in Brooklyn probably, I don't know, 4 or 6 times, something like that. Like every time we go through New York City, we eat there. And it inspired a lot of the stuff that we do at DanDan. I really think that, you know, again, you know, Bobby's just going to be Bobby. He's gonna beat you, you know, more than you're going to beat him. But I relish the opportunity to go back again and do it again. Apparently, I can't do anything Asian next time, but you know, we'll have to.
Yeah, that's so cool. That was just that moment I was showing at the very end when I think, you know, Carla's like, dang it, like Bobby frickin' Flay or something, which was funny. And, you know, I mentioned it earlier, but it was so true. And you just kind of hinted at it too. Like, do you think there's possibility to go back?
Oh, there is. I think, you know, I mean, obviously right now, nobody's really doing any filming. And I think that's, you know, that's something, you know, that's going to take some time to kind of figure out, like anything else. You know, again, in a studio, it's same thing as almost like a restaurant. It's an enclosed area with no windows,
right?
Very, you know, not a lot of ventilation, and you have a bunch of bodies in there, and you know, it shows. You know, COVID shows that it definitely excels in environments like that. So I think it's going to be some time before we get studio production back, but. Yeah, I mean, we were already kind of starting to talk about it. I really want to do more television. I really enjoyed it. Like, it's one of those things. Again, I appreciate everybody saying, you know, I think I can always, you know, get better at something. But I think, you know, for a first time really being on a television show and doing something like that, I think that I showed well, and that, you know, I think it could just get better and better from there. Plus, man, it's super. It really is. Like, I really did have a blast. It was a 12-hour day, 14-hour day total, which is very similar to what we do at the restaurant, but time also works in the same way where it works fast.
Yeah. It's fast and it is so much fun. And, you know, I think what's cool about you, and I love that you're excited to do more, is just because I feel like people that are so authentically themselves do the best on TV. And I think that's cool because not everybody has it. And I think that what I'm excited about for you is that because you liked it and want to do more of it, like you can have your great passion of food and the restaurant and add this to it and just kind of combine different things and keep evolving, even though, you know, you already are so great. One last question. So if there was anything that you might have modified, you know, in order to maybe just inch past him, was there anything you were thinking?
I would have been, like I said, I would have been more specific about the brands of stuff that I wanted to use for the pantry. I also think, you know, I would have found his cast iron woks he somehow had out of nowhere and sabotaged him and hid them from him. It was like, and that was another point. Like I remember looking over, I was like, oh, you have cast iron woks? Like, I didn't even know Lodge. What the, you know?
Calling him out. Yeah.
Like, serious? Like, why don't I have those? You know, and I think he was able, with those, he was able to get a char on his meat that I think, you know, I definitely missed, I think, in mine.
Yeah.
You know, it's also like, you don't realize there's certain things like, so, you know, we've had the same woks at DanDan for 4 years now. They don't, you know, they're cast iron, so they don't see soap and water. You know, they see, well, they don't see soap. They do see water, high heat. We wipe them out. We keep them, you know, cured. But that flavor, there's a patina that kind of like them. And there's like I can't remember what it's called. I'm blanking on what it's called right now. But there's a flavor of the wok that the wok adds to everything, and it's in the same vein as like a cast iron pan or a cast iron skillet that your grandma's had forever. There's a flavor that goes along with that develops over time, and just having a brand new wok just doesn't do it. I would also bring my own next time. You
know what to pack in the suitcase a little bit better, but yeah, It's good to pay attention and to learn those things. So this was so cool. I mean, I really appreciate the insight, not just into being on the Food Network and the show, but of course, DanDan. I want to make sure that people, as always, check out your social media, but DanDanMKE.com to check out everything happening, updates on what's going on. But I really appreciate it. This was super fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. I mean, it's very easy to talk to you. This is a super fun environment. I do want to send one quick shout out. If anybody, people out there, you really care about restaurants and you care about saving restaurants, head to independent saverestaurants.com and send letters to your congresspeople, your senators, tell them that we need help. We need the Restaurant Act surviving only on 50%, and takeout and delivery is not going to be surviving. So help us out. You want to see restaurants survive this? Help us out.
Absolutely. And besides the website, I think also, because I've checked it out, if people just, search the hashtag Save Our Restaurants, they can get a lot of information and get connected to the website and more. But I'm with you. We support you, buddy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good luck. You're a winner in our eyes for sure. I'll see you at the restaurant soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. So much fun. Yes, Chef Dan, loved it. So next up on DC Live, this is fun too, because, to be honest, I think I was just like on social media and came across Live a Little Ice Cream on a post. And I was so, kind of captivated by just how it looked. And then I found out that the creator is also a Marquette University alum. So we have something in tune. So I'm going to bring in this delightful young lady who is just such a great entrepreneur. And I want everybody to meet today, if you haven't already, Liv from Live a Little Ice Cream.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. I'm so glad you're here. Are you coming to us from your apartment or?
Yes, I'm in my little studio. Quite small,
cool.
But it's perfect. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So this is so interesting because, as I was saying, I think a couple of weeks ago, I just saw something posted and it looked amazing. And I read a little bit up on your project of Live a Little Ice Cream in your business, which is taking off and you keep evolving. And I've read your story, which is so cool. But I wanted to make sure that more people had a chance to kind of get to know what's going on, because I'm so impressed by you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. And the On Milwaukee article that came out, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, just like made things blast off even more. So I feel like the Marquette community really knew about me because that's obviously where I started. But Jules, she's my #1 fan. Has like tried every flavor.
I love that. So cool.
But now Milwaukee is starting to become more aware. So it's cool that my audience is now turning from college kids to like everyone in the city. So it's been really fun to watch.
So cool. So you recently did graduate from Marquette, right? And I saw this picture. I'm like, this girl gets it. She even has her logo on the top of her cap.
Of course.
So as a Marquette grad, what did you graduate? What did you study?
I went to Marquette for advertising, and then I also did the joint program and went to MyAd for communication design. So I did the two of them together. It was super fun. The best of both worlds, what I always would say. But yeah, I was not in business. I started in the business school and I was in it for like 3 days, and then I sat in on accounting and I was like, nope, this is not for me.
I'm out.
So the intentions of being in entrepreneurship was there when I went to college, but I did not stick it out when I knew that I had all this math ahead of me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, it was funny because we were both at Marquette, but as soon as I got into statistics, I'm like, I got to figure something out because I'm not making it.
I know. I already struggled with this in high school. Like, college is supposed to be like, you do what you actually want to study. You study what you want to study. So I was like, I can't, why am I forcing myself into this? So it still worked out. And, you can still be a part of the Entrepreneurship Center. The 707 Hub is what all the students call it. even if you're not a business student. So I got to like participate in all those kinds of things. So it was perfect.
Cool. Okay, so before we get into more of the story, why ice cream? How did ice cream come to be?
It's my favorite food. Most people that have known me know, like I literally have it almost every day. Yeah, there I am, vegan, not vegan. I have been eating it since day one, and it's funny because my grandpa drove an ice cream truck when he was really young, and then my dad worked at like a shake shop and scooped ice cream and made shakes until he got fired for giving too big of servings. They're like, okay, we're done. So it runs in my family. I mean, I've always been going out for ice cream.
That's so cool. I love that it's,
you know.
Yeah, it definitely is a lifelong journey, which is so cool. And there's so much more to evolve. So let's talk about the ingredients, because this is one thing that I was really drawn in by and definitely impressed by. So tell us about the ingredients, because it is dairy-free and vegan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm not vegan. Everyone thinks I am. It's pretty funny. But when I got my machine for my birthday, I started making normal ice cream. And, you know, of course, I'm like trying to share it. And I didn't realize how many of my friends have a dairy allergy. One of my best friends has one, and a lot of other close friends have, you know, maybe a gluten allergy, dairy. It's just so many different things. And so I would try and share it with them, and they couldn't have it. So
oh, no.
This alone, you know, like this is way too much to eat by myself. So then I started kind of dabbling in like, okay, like, can I make it dairy free? And then I realized as I was making it dairy free that it's vegan. Oh, I'm always craving Toasty Cocoa Crunch. My best friends. They're my professional taste testers. So it's funny, everyone at Marquette would like, whenever I had a new flavor, I would like run it over to someone's dorm or their apartment, like, you gotta try this, you gotta try this. But the vegan thing just kind of came natural. And also being someone who loves ice cream, I kind of knew that it'd be hard to compete with like Jenny Brittenbauer, Jenny's, Ben & Jerry's. I love those brands way too much to compete, that I had to do something that they weren't necessarily focusing on. Like, I mean, some of them have vegan flavors or dairy free, but they have like 2, you know? So I do my own thing so that we can be friends and not compete. So that's also another factor.
That's so cool. And you mentioned, you know, that you would have taste testers at Marquette and in your dorm and things, but you literally started like in your apartment or maybe even your dorm, but like 4 pints a day you were making, right? Yeah.
I lived in Campus Town West. I was on a floor of all people from around the world. It's called Global Village, so it's really cool. So I had people from Spain, Italy, all over the place have tried my ice cream because they all lived on my floor. So it was so funny getting their opinions too. But yeah, I mean, I made it in my apartment for 4 pints at a time, and my machine, the base, has to freeze overnight. So I literally could only make 4. Because it had to freeze again. So I had this like crazy schedule of like waking up, spinning it, packaging it, going to class, then delivering, and then doing it all over again. And it was nuts. I always said my poor roommates like are haunted by the noise that it would make. It's so loud. I mean, I have it's a lot.
Oh man.
But it was just so loud, and yeah, no, but it was the best. They loved it because they always try it, you know. That was
there's a payoff, you know, put up with the noise and you get the payoff. Now,
unlimited ice cream.
Yeah, in 2019, this was one of the things we always kind of say like a turning point or a stepping stone. But it was the Brewed Ideas Challenge that you were a part of. I believe you won $7,500, right?
Yes, yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my God, I could imagine like $7,500 is a game changer.
I
so
know,
what did you?
I was a college kid. I had never had that much money to my name. So like, what? You know, for someone else, I think older, they'd be like, oh, this is great. But like for someone my age, I was like, this is nuts, you know, and I could not.
So cool. So what did you purchase with the 75? How did you use the winnings?
Yeah, I got a commercial ice cream machine. So now, like, legally, I can wholesale and sell my ice cream. Before, it was kind of like a test round. You know, I didn't have licensing when I started because I didn't know as a college kid. You know, I'm learning things along the way. So I got the commercial machine and all the different equipment that I needed to make it legit. And then I also got an ice cream cart, which was like the best purchase ever. It's so fun, and I'm really excited because I'm gonna get to use it September 20th. I'm doing the Milwaukee Makers Market on the east side, and so it's gonna be the first showing of the Marvelous Ice Cream cart. So
okay, so is this really, the cart? This is the cart right here, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So September 20th, where are you gonna be?
Milwaukee Makers Market.
Awesome. Look for the cart. Oh, I love that.
I'm so excited. So I was supposed to be in farmers markets, but because of everything happening, it was really challenging to make that work, especially this being my first summer doing it. It was like kind of too much at once. So I'm excited. This is like a really good test round to dip my toes in the water of the market scene so that I can prepare all winter for next summer and be ready.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the attitude is awesome because people are going to love it and get more and more introduced to it. And you know what? It's the pace. It's okay to take the pace that you're good with, you're comfortable with. You know,
yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's cool. Okay, now this is the thing. You were so kind to drop off some amazing treats. You know, as people remember, we were supposed to do this last Wednesday, and you dropped off 3 pints like this, and there's one left. One left. But I want to tell people what I love is that you do such a good job with the packaging, like everything, you know, the yarn, the lettering, you know, I love this little, look at this cute patch.
Yes, I was like, you need one.
I know, I love that. And so I just love it. Now this is the 3 o'clock coffee. And I want you, as I taste this, tell us a little bit about the flavors. Like, how do you come up with the flavors? First of all, I really want people to know, like, this is so creamy. And what are the nibs in here? Is this chocolate?
Yeah, it's vegan dark chocolate chunks.
Yeah,
so it's so good. I like a good chocolate crunch. I know some people like the smaller pieces, but I think it's like creamy, and then you get and it's like a good surprise.
Yeah. And there's a lot of chunks in here.
Oh yeah, you can't have to do the chunks, the more the merrier for me. So yeah, that was my very first flavor, and the flavors come natural. I'm actually launching one today, cotton candy. Yeah, it's fun. It's the first time I've added color and swirled it. So like scooping it, it's pink and blue. And as an artist, like the colors, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like so pretty on this note. So I'm really excited. But yeah, the flavors kind of come natural. I really want them to be unique and fun and different. I feel like the thing with vegan is people automatically assume, okay, it's low sugar, super healthy. I'm not saying my ice cream's not healthy, right? Like it's better for you than normal ice cream, but it has sugar in it because that's what makes it good. You want food that's worth it. And so
here's the thing about it, which I love. Oh, sorry, I just want to tell. First of all, this is my husband, Adam. We ate the other two. Giving away our secrets. But what's cool about this too is a couple of things, but one, the texture is really it's a neat texture. I mean, it's smooth, but it does have some grittiness, which I love too.
Yeah.
But what I really like is the flavor is just perfect. It's not too strong. It's not hard to taste. But also, I can eat this whole thing and not feel like heavy. I'm telling you, there's no guilt.
Absolutely. No, that's the difference. That is the difference. And I even noticed that, and I'm not dairy free. It's like, I don't feel sick after having a big cone of ice somewhere else, but I feel like kind of weighed down. But when I have mine, which trust me, I'm trying it a lot because, to get the right flavor, I have had to eat quite a few cones of it. I feel fine. It's like, oh, like this is great. And it's really nice too to see, like, I know exactly what I put in it, and knowing that, most, if not all, the ingredients are all natural, organic. I mean, the only ones that aren't are when I decide to put the Pop-Tarts in it or the Oreos, because I love tapping into the nostalgia and the fun treats that you maybe wouldn't buy at this time, but you want a bite of it. That's my thought with strawberry Pop-Tart pie. I always kind of am like, oh, Pop-Tart would be kind of good right now, but I don't need 8 Pop-Tarts. So I'm going to put some and get the craving out for everyone. So
well, here's the cool thing about it too, is that I love not only how they taste and look and everything, but the strawberry Pop-Tart pie, like you said, warm hugs, the small and mighty mint chip. That's what I had. It's so good. The Big League Scoop 3 o'clock coffee, which I'm eating. I love you so matcha. I mean, what is that flavor?
I love you so matcha is just matcha in a vanilla base. So it's kind of like a matcha latte. And it's so funny because either people love or hate that one. I've never like made such a polarizing flavor because if you love matcha, it's like, this is perfect. I use Rishi matcha. So like I try and use local places. So people are all over it because it's like legit matcha. But then there's the people that are like, oh, it tastes like grass. I personally think though, it's pretty good with the balance of the vanilla. Oh my gosh, are you gonna finish it? Who needs a cup of coffee in the morning when you can have a cup of ice cream? Right?
You know what I think this is so good for also is kids' parties. Because the thing is, like you said before, you have kids in your class, whatever kind of allergy or dairy or whatever, every kid is gonna love this. Yeah. Every kid. So just have this and you can bring the cart, have a party. People can just have, now just this scoop too.
Yeah. So I've done a few events where I've scooped for parties. I actually, before all like the COVID stuff, I did a baptism, which was, I can't even believe it. They were like, can you do my kid's baptism? I'm like, sure. And then I ended up doing that same family's birthday party. So those events, like the family events really work out because there, like I said, there are quite a few allergies. So my like cookie dough, the cookie crumble flavor is also gluten-free. So even if someone's gluten-free, like I have flavors for them too. So I just basically ask if I have a catering event, like what are all the allergies? Like list them out for me and I'll make sure there's a flavor for everyone. Michelle's
like, keep going, eat it all, eat it all. I love that. Now, the other thing that's cool too is these, I think that this is where your art background, I'm sure, comes in too, but I really like that you keep people engaged in different ways. Yeah. This was some of your sprinkle kindness, which were coloring sheets that people could have and use that probably more so intended during COVID or at home, something to do. Yeah, I did this at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think in addition to it being an ice cream brand, in a way, it's, I don't want to say lifestyle, but I like to kind of, right, it's my personality, like spit it out into a brand. So me being into design, like I love making the merch, like all that stuff I do by myself because I know, like that's what I do on the side, you know, like I'm a freelancer. Right. So it just kind of comes natural. And so tying that in like just adds a whole nother dimension, I think, to the brand. And I think a lot of like why it blew up as quickly as it did when I started wasn't necessarily the ice cream because I just mastered the flavor and the texture. Like that took a while. It was the branding that got people engaged, and then they would try it, and you know the whole experience altogether was what kind of made it what it is.
Now, where can people pick up the merch on your website?
Yeah, so I did that through University Cheese. It was when I was a student at Marquette, so they take care of everything, and then I would donate all the profit to a different organization. And I am planning on doing it again this fall. So it's in waves. So I would say late September, October, I'm planning on doing like the sweatshirts again, maybe a tote bag. I think that would be pretty cute for groceries.
Oh, yeah.
I have patches. So there's a link up on my website where you
How about a fanny pack?
Oh, that would be so fun. That you can maybe like a fanny pack cooler and you can
do it.
Right in it. Can you imagine? Perfect.
I want like a blue fanny pack with this patch.
Oh, absolutely.
And like a cooler to fit 2 of these in. I love it. Done.
All right. Putting it on my list.
Okay, now I should mention too that Liv, your full name is Olivia. Mm-hmm. So that's how Liv came. Now, where are you cooking now? Where are you making your ice cream now?
Yeah, I am in Cream City Kitchen on Wisconsin Avenue. So I am in a shared food kitchen, which is really fun because I'm like around other chefs and bakers, and just like getting to meet them and like being in a group chat with them is so cool because I'm like, oh, they've been doing this for a while. And then like this young girl comes in trying to make ice cream, and like they've been so friendly and so nice.
That's cool.
And awesome. And things have gone really well. I just started wholesaling with Dead Bird Brewing Co. It's in Halyard Park. They're amazing. Like so much fun to work with, such a pleasure. They're making shakes and floats with my vanilla.
Ooh, this would be so good in a shake. Tell them to make coffee.
Every time I go and drop something off, which I'm dropping something off later today, they like make something new because they're always trying new stuff based on what's like in season, you know, fruits, vegetables, whatever. So it's really fun to see them do that and like kind of include my ice cream within. So
what did it feel like when you picked up the key?
I lost it. I mean, I think that was the biggest milestone because I mean, my friends and family know like I am creative. I'm not analytical at all. So figuring out how to fill out the papers was very hard for me. Like just understand. I was Googling what like words meant so I would fill it out correctly. Like just so that was the hardest part. And I had to do that to get the key. And until I got that key, I couldn't do anything else, you know?
Wow.
So getting it was crazy. It happened really fast too. It was like all of a sudden they called me. They're like, "Yeah, you're approved." I'm like, "What?" Like that's it.
Wow.
And I have the mail, so I have like the sheet, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta frame this." But yeah, that and getting the first wholesale gig were probably the biggest milestones so far, other than Brewed Ideas Challenge. You know, because like all I wanted to be was part of the restaurant scene. Like listening to Dan talk about DanDan and all that stuff, like. I just admire those people. Those are the superheroes of Milwaukee. Like I love them.
Yes.
And so to be kind of a part of it now is the coolest thing ever.
That is so cool. Yeah, the wholesale part I'm sure is awesome. Yeah. I think it's so neat that you do have a lot of support, but at the same time you're really going through the process, independently. You're, like you said, Googling, figuring it out, filling out the paperwork. I mean, trust me, I've 18 years into having my business, I remember
it's hard.
It's hard. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
God.
Yes, I support it. I'm honored. Wow.
So good. So good. So good. I love it. Now, so you mentioned a little bit about this, but the pandemic and COVID kind of just interrupted a little bit in terms of more so like the pace, but coming forward and was there something kind of unexpectedly positive that has come out of this or you expect to come out of it?
I'm always moving like 100 miles per hour. Like why was I making coloring pages when I should probably be doing like the legal work, right? That's me putting off stuff and like doing things I like. Like it made me stop, slow down, and like get it together. Get the things I needed to do, like figure it out. I literally have a week where I worked for Summerfest as a designer. I got laid off. So it gave me more time to work on ice cream. It's fine, whatever, like everything happens for a reason. And so I sat down for a week. I was like, this week I'm figuring out the paperwork. There are no other options. Like you have to do it. You got nothing else to do. I was at home living with my parents for a while, just, enjoying being back in mom's food since no one was really in the city and I wasn't seeing anyone. And so I was like, okay, like it really made me focus, which is probably my hardest thing to do, especially when you're in a city that's so fun and there's things all around you. So everything's lined up now. I think I feel ready. I think that if I jumped this summer and COVID didn't happen, not that I wanted it to happen, but I would have it probably would have been a rude awakening of like, oh my gosh, you need to do that, all this stuff. And I would have been really stressed out, especially having a job on top of it. So things have just like worked out. And I feel like considering there's a pandemic, things are going pretty well, at least for Live a Little.
Yeah, that's so cool. I always tell people too, when you are doing the right thing and it's so like meant to be and it incorporates your personality, your passion, your talents, and you're open to expanding and learning, it just all kind of starts falling into place. Everything is just rooting in your favor, and that's what's so cool about it.
That's when you're doing the right thing. I was like, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should get a 9-to-5 again, but then I remember how like things are working out and it's happening so naturally that why would I interrupt that?
And what I love about it too is just like, starting to get to know your brand and to have this conversation with you is one of the reasons why it is for sure destined to be so successful is because your personality matches what you're doing. That's what's so great. I'm telling you.
talking to people when they're messaging me about ice cream. I'm like, hi, and I send like 5 emojis. I'm like, what's up? You know, it's like literally just me. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I did that, right? Like, because it's so easy. Like, I don't think about what I'm writing in the post. It's just like me talking, you know? Whereas if I tried to put on some different facade, it would have been a lot harder and taken a lot more time to figure out what I, you know, wanted to do.
So cool. So 2 last quick things. So where can people, if they want to try the ice cream, I know at the Makers Market, September 20th, everything else, livealittle.icecream.com, I'm sure is a good resource to find out what's happening and what's new, right?
I will be posting other events I'm going to be a part of. My ice cream is always at Dead Bird Brewing Co., so I encourage people to go support them in addition to me and trying the shakes. They're so good. You won't regret it. And then, you know, I started, this is like, I'm glad you asked me this because this has been kind of some confusion with my fans. I started with just delivering pints. That's how I started. Well, thankfully, this is a great problem to have. I have so many people that want it now that is just not, I'm one person who can't deliver these pints all across the city, you know? So I'm doing wholesale and I'm doing catering. So I do catering over a gallon. So if you're a family of 5 or 2 and you just wanna have ice cream in your freezer for a while, you can get a gallon and I'll deliver it. I'm gonna do pickups by the little pints later in the winter when things are less crazy, where you could just swing by the food kitchen and pick stuff up. But I'm trying to learn how to set that up. But for now, support Dead Bird and come to the Makers Market. There's going to be artists there selling their work. So now's the time to support the people that, you know, haven't been able to do these kinds of things all summer.
Yeah, that's so important. So key. I'm looking forward to that day. So what are the next steps? What's on the horizon? Any big dreams?
Well, I'm going to keep trying to get on menus of different places in Milwaukee. That's a big step for this, the rest of the year. And then I'm hoping in, you know, I hope the next year we're going to try and manifest that I could get an ice cream truck. I think that would be the coolest thing. So
here's the dream truck, right?
Yeah. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I thought it was real because I'm a designer. I mocked it up and people were like, they didn't read the caption all the way. They just got excited. And they're like, you got a truck?
I mean, I can so see you like hanging out that window.
Oh.
You know, I mean, it's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I hope that happens. I think that'd be great because I have a big fan base in Chicago where I'm from. So to be able, they always want ice cream when I come home to visit. I can just drive the truck down.
Yeah, just drive the truck. You know, I mean, that's perfect.
Hand out ice cream off the highway. So hopefully that comes into play. But right now I'm just working on getting into more restaurants because I feel like that is appropriate for the time. You know, it's a really hard time to kind of do things safely, and being a part of a restaurant that's already doing takeout and carry out works probably the best.
Yeah. That's so cool. Well, this has been so much fun. I'm a new super fan, and I will wear my badge proudly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Love. This was so great, and I just know that big things are on the way. So maybe when you're like big time and on some big show, you'll like show this clip and be like, "Hey,"
my first show.
in the early days. But anyway. I really appreciate it. Thanks for dropping off this delicious ice cream. We can't wait for the Makers Market and to keep track of you.
Flavor, just you got my number. Let me know and I'll come deliver it.
So cool. I'm so excited for you. So good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun. Keep living the dream because it's all well worth it. And do not do your 9 to 5 because you're on the right path.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Liv. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. I love it. And yes, gone. So I want to just give you guys a quick heads up before we say goodbye. This is something I'm really excited about. Joining me is going to be the fabulous Dr. Eve Hall, who is the president and CEO of the Milwaukee Urban League. She's going to be with me next Wednesday. You know where to find us at 9 o'clock in the morning Central Time. Dr. Eve Hall, important conversation with such a delightful and impressive woman, and she will be September 9th. I want to quickly give you a recap. I said that I would, of what was happening last night across the country. WeMakeEvents.org. Super, super impressive. This was the setup that we had next to the Fiserv Forum. And really, this was kind of a movement to draw attention to the live events industry that, as we all know, has just been decimated by COVID-19. And there is a piece of legislation in Congress right now called the Restart Act. And this is going to hopefully be passed and provide additional funding and relief for businesses in the live events industry, and very, very critical to need extending the unemployment benefits, those types of things. You can read about it, WeMakeEvents.org. It was so great to collaborate to put on this display last night. You can read all about it. All across the country, there was just fantastic, fantastic displays in support of #WeMakeEvents. This is, look at, my friend sent me from Seattle. So neat to see the Space Needle all lit up in red. Here's a really cool one from Hawaii. I mean, all the way from Hawaii, one of their entertainment bowls, outdoor locations, was lit up in red. I mean, it was just so spectacular. And I really do encourage you to support the live events industry, to check out WeMakeEvents.org. People need your support. Congress needs to hear from you. And I'll be certainly doing more about this on social media, but wanted to give you guys some information in case you saw it on the news or saw some things happening around town last night. So thanks so much to Chef Dan Jacobs. So great to hear about his experience on the Food Network, Beat Bobby Flay. Make sure, of course, that we check out DanDan and also Live a Little Ice Cream. I mean, she's so delightful and the ice cream is delicious. So everybody, it's always great to see you live. David Caruso live on Facebook. We will see you next week, Wednesday, September 9th, with Dr. Eve Hall. Until then, have a super, super great day, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.